All right, so you're welcome to Let's Get Talking with Desi. My name is Desmond Okreku Dan, so you can call me Desi Fade. Many thanks for watching. Make sure you like my page on Facebook, Let's Get Talking with Desi. On YouTube, it's Desi Fade, and share and comment also. So this week, we heard of the punishment for Professor Jampo and Dr. Butako of the University of Ghana, and they're being suspended 6 months and 4 months respectively with no pay effective 1st January 2020. And my guest on the show today will be helping me discuss the whole issue. Is the punishment enough, or they were expecting more from the disciplinary committee? Dr. Amanda Odoi is a research associate with the Center for Gender Research, Advocacy and Documentation, and also Thomas Kwame Nimo is a graduate student of the University of Cape Coast. You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Let me start with you, Dr. Odoi. The punishment. Were you looking for something like this, or you thought it would be something else?
I think I'll say more of what I was hoping for. That it will be an outright sack for both of them to serve as a deterrent. Nonetheless, I think this is a good start. This is the first time any university has come out boldly to say, okay, this is what the committee said and this is what we've done. Some years back we had UPSA coming out to say they've sacked some of their lecturers, but it wasn't something related to this. It was other courses, but also sexual harassment. So I'm glad Legon has been bold enough to be able to at least give some sort of punishment to deter other lecturers and also to help students gain some confidence in the processes of sexual harassment.
I'll come back to you as to why you think they should be sacked, really. Kwame, so let me take your initial comments on this also after you had the punishment for these two lecturers.
Well, I'd like to, usually I like to analyze this issue based on what the punishment was supposed to do. So essentially punishment is for, rehabilitation, allowing the person to really change their ways and whatnot. But really punishment has never been for deterring other people. Usually the deterrence comes out of the image that is created afterwards. And I think the image that was created after this blunder has served its punishment enough. And I don't think further punishments would deter anybody anyhow from anything. So that's just what.
Let me add that they are supposed to embark on some training on the university's sexual harassment policy. So that's also part of it. Dr. Amanda Odoi, the sack part. You think really they should have been sacked?
For so many reasons. I think in relation to the other universities that were in the documentary, these lecturers were sacked outright. So the Unilag lecture, for instance, I think was yes. But that's what I'm saying. This is the first time anything like this is happening in Ghana. So they being sacked or suspended, I think it serves a purpose. At least it serves as a check on all other institutions. Now other institutions will be able to even go a step further than just a suspension and sacking lecturers who are. And the reason why this is a suspension and not a sack is because then, according to the University of Ghana policy, this is a sexual misconduct and not necessarily sexual harassment. And because the students, the assumption is that they were not members of the university community, and this is why they were not sacked. Probably if the other investigations had come out with anything from the students' perspective with evidence, then they could base on that say they violated the university sexual harassment policy and so. And they're going to sack.
We're looking at this, sexual harassment, on a wider scale. Kwame, have you been sexually harassed before?
No, I haven't. Do you think that a man can be sexually harassed?
Yes, very, very much, yes.
I think I would want to find out from him. Has anybody touched you in a way that you're uncomfortable with? You didn't like, you're not expecting the person to do so, or anybody has asked you or passed any comment that made you uncomfortable?
No.
Or sexual in nature?
No, mainly because I am not so sensitive to the subject of sexual harassment. It's, as we go by, men are not, very sensitive to being touched in some ways or hugged in some ways. We actually welcome that touch.
Okay.
So then that brings in the problem, the actual problem that then it looks like men can never say that they've been sexually harassed because some would say we rather enjoy it.
Men do. We've had instances where people have come to the center to report their experiences as men. I think the basic problem with addressing issues of sexual harassment is the fact that we actually don't even know that what we're doing is harassing in nature, and then the people on the receiving end don't know. But then one thing is key, and what we basically base our arguments on the fact that if the person sees it to be uncomfortable, then it's harassment. So if he doesn't see it as such, even if it's been done to him and he doesn't see it as harassment, then he's not being harassed. But so far as I interpret it as such, then I can say I've been harassed.
And that's where the other problem comes in, where some men say, then if I'm even looking at you right now, you can say that
yes, if it makes
sexually
me
harassing.
uncomfortable. And yes, I could say that. But I'm sure if he has taken his time to look at the sexual harassment policy, look at the items that are in. So sometimes it could be an image somebody sends you. So unexpected, a friend of you don't expect that, sends you a picture, if it's a female, of a vagina, asking you if you would want this, and you're in shock. Why would you send me such? Yeah, that's harassment. But because he's not really probably aware of these things, or you just get up one morning and decide that you send a guy penis and compare his to another person's, those are signs. But I'm sure guys experience sexual harassment in so many ways they don't really pay attention to, because they are not aware of the things that you categorize as sexual harassment amongst others.
You are the center, CEGRAD, and you have lots of people coming in. Do you feel that we are making headways when it comes to fighting the sexual harassment?
I actually think we've made a headway in terms of awareness, making people aware of what sexual harassment is, the existence of the university's policy, and the fact that there's a center that's available and ready to receive them, and also there's a sexual harassment committee that will address them. I think where there's still a gap is the confidence in the students to be able to come out and report, because then the understanding is that this is a center, as a university's department, they will protect their own, so the assumption is that we'll protect the other lectures. That's how come I'm also in favor of this suspension, because if Legon has done it, and if you're able to go out there maybe during advocacy and say, well, we can also do it, if it's been done to another group, then, or if been done in another university, we can also do it, then it builds their confidence to come out and know that we'll not protect them. But there are so many ways that those who have come out have been protected and their issues have been addressed. So I think this is going to serve us as another tool for us to use for advocacy, that yes, they can be protected and there's something that can be done for them.
And let me add that CEGRAD is in UCC, so if you heard her talk about the universities, it's not referring to she wasn't referring to Legon. Kwame, lecturers have I've heard lecturers complain that the other way around, it's the female students that come to them with all of these advances, and then it becomes difficult for them sometimes. I mean, they may not even react to them, but if they just make a few moves, I mean, they probably are trying to be friendly with these students, then it becomes a problem. How do lecturers make sure that they're able to be cool, let me use that word, be cool with their female students without not seeming like, it's sexual harassment or anything like that?
I could feel that. Well, I think that constitutes sexual harassment. They should also be given the leeway to also report and whatnot. But when it comes to having a relationship, a professional relationship with students, I think you should hold to the highest esteem your ethics in your professional code of conduct. You have a student that you are supposed to teach, and by virtue of the fact that she is your student, obviously you have an undue advantage over her. So then whatever happens in that interaction, you're in the wrong. So then there's no way you come up and even in counseling, for instance, where I do my masters, that you are liable at any point in time, even when the client offers you sex or something. You are liable. It's your professional code to actually act professionally at all times. So then you don't have an excuse, really. That's what
no, but also, I mean, it's a university. Your students shouldn't be afraid to approach you. You're supposed to be cool with them and all of that. But if you put it this way, then it means that the lecturers would look like tigers, and students, the female student, may not really be able to interact with them and be like, Dr. Odoi, you're shaking.
Yeah, no, because the point you brought up is basically the argument we make when it comes to a lecturer saying that a student has harassed them, or because we say that sexual harassment occurs in the context of power relations.
Okay.
So if you have power over the student, you can't necessarily say the student has harassed you, because then it's up to you to say I accept it, and then it's up to you to say okay, then this is what she did. The student can come and harass you, but then you can come and make gestures, but it's up to you to give in. And the assumption is, what kind of relationship do you have with your students such that you can come and make such advances, or you send you such text messages, send you such pictures, and walk up to you, expose her body, and make such comments. We are not saying the lecturers can't be friends with students. Of course, you are in an environment where you can, but then there are ethics, there are disciplinary issues that you have to take into consideration. You have to understand the fact that there are certain things that gives you undue advantage over the students. Your age, in our context where we ask people to respect the elderly, and so whatever you want, the student will do for you, but the student cannot ask you to do whatever she wants you to do for him unless you open up. We acknowledge the fact that there are students that may make advances at these lectures, so that's how come we open up for everyone that feels harassed to come and report. But then when you get here, there are certain things that you have to know that in the context of power, you can never say that this student has taken advantage, because there's no condition that this student can lay before you that you think that you cannot meet. So, but for you as a lecturer, you can say, if you don't do this for me, I'll fail you. If you don't do this, or what she came to ask you for, if you don't give me sex, what am I going to do to you as a lecturer? In which way am I going to penalize you as a student and all that? These are some of the things we want to take into consideration.
You know, some ladies can come with blackmail, you know.
Yes, so when it gets to the issue of blackmail, so that's how come when they come, we also ask them for evidence. So what are the messages that
has brought a lot of issues?
What is it that the student was offering? What was the line of conversation? So for me, I tell my friends, if you think the student is sending you messages, you see, you have every opportunity to say stop it. You can't. If you don't stop it, this is what I'll do to you. You can actually say, if you don't stop making these advances, you can leave my class and all that. So you see, this is where the power comes in. You can stop her, but she can't stop you when you are making advances and taking. But then we are notified that they can come in with certain gestures. And what we're also saying that is because it's been institutionalized. That's how come these students sometimes are bold enough to walk to this lecture. Some of the students, even before they come to the university, know that these are some of the lectures we'll get if we go to. So they intentionally go to their classes because they know they're weak, they're getting them. Their names are already out there. And you find out after every 4 years, students leave campus. How come those ones coming in know that if I go to this person, why don't they go to the other persons? There are a lot of lectures. There are some lectures students can boldly tell you, after this man, don't go close. So how can you say that after this one, where you go, you make your way? So this is where character, issues of ethics, morality, and all that comes in.
Kwame, the issue of evidence. That's what most lecturers, tend to use. Like, where's the evidence? How do you think that these ladies, our ladies, would be able to produce some evidence, when it comes to these issues to make their cases, substantial?
Well, like Doc said, this is an experience that people have on a regular basis with behind closed doors where there's nobody. So it's your word against theirs. I mean, there are lots of issues.
And that's where the disadvantage comes in, that if it's your word against that of the lecturer,
More likely to survive.
Well, already people think that, it's the young lady who is speaking the truth.
No, not necessarily.
No,
not necessarily, but then it's bound to. No, I think that's going to be from the maybe the lecturers go up and then they say, okay, these little girls they want to take advantage, but also from the girl's perspective, she's even afraid to come out without any evidence because she knows they're going to say is her word against that of the lecturer, and this lecturer is powerful, and these institutions, this committee that we set up are made of lecturers and staff, so that's where their fear is. But then how we get them to gather evidence. So now during our orientation, we have something we call relationship tidbits, where we teach first year students how to take care of themselves on campus. And one of the things we teach them about sexual harassment is how to gather evidence. So text messages you receive from these lectures, they are so reckless that they will send you text messages, some snapshots of their penis and all that. ask you to see what you're missing and all that. So if you get those messages, don't delete them. If WhatsApp,
you've had some.
yes, we've had some where people.
You.
Personally, we've seen that. No, we've seen it from other students reporting.
Okay, then let me put it this way: have you been sexually harassed?
Yes. I had an experience when I was in undergrad, but luckily enough, before I came to school, my parents had already sensitized me, so I really knew how to maneuver my way. And also, I had some lecturers who were friends, so I could just walk to them and talk to them, and it was easier. So we tell them to keep their text messages they get, their WhatsApp messages, all forms of communication, even if it's getting advanced. So sometimes in early stages, you will not know this is what the person is heading towards, so you don't record. But then if you get to the point where it's persistent, there's pressure, you can actually record their phone calls as well as a form of evidence, because it's your word against, and if you think you need to be protected, you just have to.
Kwame, sex was great.
No, I just want
Okay,
to
yeah, do that.
So, yes, the evidence exists. I mean, first of all, I feel that you have to manage and be bold about the things, be assertive about, learn the skill of assertiveness when it comes to these things. So, a lecturer pursue you should be able to say no, walk out of the office if you have to. All those things have to be, things that people have to do to even prevent these things from happening, because then you don't also want to live with the trauma associated with, having such an issue happen to you. Trauma is just devastating. You just don't want to.
Sure.
Kwame, these things don't happen just in our academic institutions. I mean, at the workplaces, everywhere, in the homes, everywhere. How do we solve this once and for all? I've heard people call for a national sexual harassment policy, something of that sort, so we all know generally. Because sometimes you just walk or in our lives every day, certain things do happen, but the ordinary Ghanaian or the ordinary female doesn't know that this is sexual harassment, or the ordinary guy doesn't know that what this lady is doing to me is sexual harassment. How do we put an end to all of this?
Well, Desi, I think that the conversation has to go on. It's the start of a new conversation, and the policy is important. But more to it, I think that we should also uphold ethics and to the highest level, your professional code and conduct. And people should be taught these things. Like, you would enter a job and you're not even, taught your ethics and the trade and how you're supposed to act professionally in that trade, and that's a problem. So I think that it's important that people are sensitized about what to do, the do's and the don'ts. And yes, the policy is important, but then also incorporates the valor of like being assertive and trying to project values that as Ghanaian society we have had since the past. So then it's important for any employer, whatever it is, to ensure that there's a guide to how people are supposed to conduct themselves in the job. And then, yes, the policy is important, but then people have to know it, and people have to know what things to do when these things happen, who to consult. All these things are very important for us moving forward. Yes.
Dr. yourself, looking at the fact that part of the punishment is for them to go through some training when it comes to the University of Ghana sexual harassment policy.
I think it's another step, but the assumption is that they said they knew it. When it came out, that man was confident enough to say that he knows it, Professor Jampo, that he knows it, so he knows what he did was not wrong. Well, it has come out to say that you didn't know it, so now learn it. And I think that another step the university can take is to make him a lead person in advocacy for against sexual harassment. So he leads sexual harassment advocacy cases, because now he's going to learn it. And actually, I think he also has to go beyond the two of them just learning it and then being assessed to every lecture that comes to the university. Every year before you take a class, you have to take an ethics and sexual harassment misconduct assessment. And then if you pass, that's what gives you access to. In some institutions, even in the US, students have to take it. They have to pass it before you get access to all other grades and all that. So it's another step. If they succeed with them, they go ahead and do it for all the other lectures as well. And I hope UCC and other institutions also pick it up. It's mandatory, because sometimes when this conversation started, that's when we realized that a lot of the lecturers did not even know about the existence of the sexual harassment policy for University of Cape Coast. But then because the conversation started, everybody was asking for it. So it's another avenue to train them. And I like the fact that they are taking them through it. At least, even if they go to the clubhouse or wherever they are sitting and it comes up, they can educate the other men enough. And coming from another man, male involvement is actually also very important key in addressing gender-based violence and sexual harassment cases. So I think it's good.
And out of our academic institutions?
I think the key is the national policy. If even we can't have a policy now, I think every institution can be mandated to come up with certain guidelines for addressing sexual harassment. Because our culture is one key reason why we find it difficult to address it. Touching females' body or sexualizing females' body is nothing new in our context, and that's why. So now if we bring this in, then they get to know that it's not something that's allowed.
Kwame, I mean, finally for the guys, sometimes it's like we always being put in a corner, and these things hang around our necks. So what should we do? I mean, generally as guys, when it comes to this, being the victim and also being the perpetrators.
Well, I think Doc has said a lot. Really, the question on have I ever been sexually harassed? It's an absolute no. But I have been accused of sexually harassing somebody before, like just by virtue of the fact that I was overly welcoming to that person, and. But I think the education helped me really. How somebody could tell me, yo, these are the things that you don't do in these spaces, and like she said, the buy-in is important. And it came from another guy, because then if it comes from another girl, you could just say it's your word against mine. But then when the buy-in comes in, when our own people buy it and they are transferring the information to ourselves, I think we can together live in societies that allow for male and females to coexist without necessarily barging into each other's spaces.
Okay.
I think that's very important for us.
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on the show today. It's been great talking about sexual harassment, more so on the punishment given out to Professor Jampo and Dr. Butako of the University of Ghana. So the conversation continues. How do we end this? Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you like my page on Facebook. Let's Get Talking with Desi. On YouTube, it's Desi Fade, and like, share, and comment. So let me say thank you to Eska Media, Joshua Eskin Photography, Obi Consult, and the rest of the team. My name is Desmond Okwekudanso. You can also call me Desi Fade. Bye-bye.